Welcome to Tentative Title with Tim. This is a podcast about creativity, about process, about filmmaking, and about screenwriting. Welcome everybody back to the podcast. I hope everything is going well with everybody out there. I hope your week's starting out well. So today's topic, I wanted to talk about the tools that we have access to write our screenplays, to edit our movies, to pre-visualize, special effects, as well as those programs to make those special effects. All of this is great advances in technology and has become so affordable to guys like me. Like, I don't have all the money in the world. And so to be able to have access to a program that allows me to, get more bang for my buck, to be able to do a lot without having to pay a fortune for, is definitely like upped my game. But we're at a point where there's just no reason not to create something because there are so many tools out there. And I just wanted to, talk about the idea of just using the right tool, because since there are so many programs out there, it can be intriguing to use what the professionals use. And not to say that what the professionals use aren't the best, they're professionals. They know like what programs the industry standard, that's the industry standard is basically what I'm saying, is like whatever those programs are. But I've also found that just because it's an industry standard doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best for you to use. And I'm not trying to say that like, oh well, like we're the industry has no idea what they're talking about. It's like, it's not about that. It's about finding the tools that help you create in the best, like streamlines your creativity in the way that you need it to. Because if you're trying to build something, like if you're trying to build a house and somebody says the industry standard for building a house is to use this stapler, you'd be like, that would make no sense. You'd be like, no, like that's going to take me forever. I'm not going to use a stapler. I mean, obviously that's a very absurd example, but the point is that just because the industry uses certain programs doesn't necessarily mean that you have to. And this goes for gear as well. This goes for anything that helps you make your movie. Like it just a screenwriting program, gear, post-productions, facilities, like just all of it. Like it always depends on what is best for you, what works best for you. And you don't always know that right away, because maybe the industry standard is there because it actually is the best method to get, quick results, or to be able to get what you're looking for when you're putting together your film. Like, that's completely legitimate, and it probably will cost a lot, but in terms of just the tool itself, it might be the best. And so I'm very intrigued by that, mostly because of the fact that I come from a theater background. I come from, building sets. And so when I was in the shop and we had to use a certain tool, like if it was a saw and the blade wasn't sharpened, or, like it was burnt out a bit, you could tell because you would try to cut a piece of wood and it just it was so tough to do. But then when you put a new blade on it, it was like a hot knife through butter. And I have to say that this example applies to everything, because when you're, like when you're trying to do like previs and you're trying to figure out like what's the best program to use, sometimes it may not be a program. Sometimes the best thing that you can use is just a pencil and a paper and using your imagination to sketch out those ideas. I've been caught in that thought of like, well, it's not actually previs unless I use a computer, unless I'm using like 3D, like, sets and figures to map out the scene. And there may be some benefits in that, and there definitely are, but sometimes I know what I want in my head, and so it's a lot easier for me to just get a piece of paper and a pencil and sketch out exactly what it is that I'm looking for. And so I've learned through that example that like sometimes it is good to learn the program. It is good to like have that tool in your tool belt, but sometimes just a good old fashioned like pencil and paper like does the trick. Like it's the best thing for the job at that moment. Then on the other hand, like I'm very much a creature of habit when it comes to writing screenplays. I don't like writing longhand. I would prefer to have a computer and a word processor than to have a piece of paper and a pencil, because there's so much redundancy within a script, like putting like slug lines and putting character names. Like it's just, there's so much of redundant information that is important, but it's like, if you had to like write it over and over and over again, it would just slow the process down so much. And so I would rather use, a screenwriting program or a word processor in order to get that job done. And so I want to encourage you not to just fall blindly into what the industry standard is. And I not to say that you shouldn't look into it. You shouldn't see like what it actually is and what it can do. And, it may be the best tool for the job, but it may be really expensive at this moment. And you as much as you want to use that tool, you can't, or maybe you can find a free version that gives you some limited, access. They have like free trial program, you could use it for like 30 days or something like that. Or they have a free version where it's not the full program, but you can still use it. You can still play around with it. You can still learn how to do something. You can work with the program to learn how to use it. But with that, it's like to get caught up in having the name brand gear, having the name brand programs, it ends up not actually mattering. It doesn't matter in the long run, right? Because when you're watching a film, when you're watching a TV show, you have no idea like what it was shot on, what program they did the edit in. Like all of that information you can find for sure. But when it comes to the completed film or TV show, none of that matters. And so I want to encourage all of you to just find the tools that work best for you, and to not be afraid to lean into that. I mean, heck, I forgot the name of the screenwriter, but he's like been around for decades, and the program that he uses, I guess it only allows him to write 15 pages at a time before he has to offload it and print it out and delete what he has, and then like the program can only hold like 15 pages at a time. And so he just has that process. He's been doing it for decades, and no matter what new programs come out, he doesn't care. He's like, I've written some great movies with this method, and I don't plan on changing it because I know it works. I don't have to learn something new. and I mean, I think the guy is like won Oscars and stuff like that. He's written some pretty amazing stuff. I really need to find out who this guy, I need to look up who this is, because I totally forgot his name. But I mean, that kind of is like the point of this whole like episode, is that like, even though there are new tools that come out, it's like it doesn't actually matter, because of the fact that like you're able to use what works. And if you use what works, you'll be more creative. You'll have a greater output than somebody who keeps chasing after the new toy or the new the new program, and like they may be able to use these things to a certain extent, but it's like they're spending a lot of time learning how to use the programs too, and there's going to be something new around the corner in the next year anyway. So yeah, guys, I think we get so caught up on the having access to like a certain program that we kind of stop ourselves from just sitting down and doing the work. I mean, I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me plenty of times, where I see a program that looks like it's solving a problem for me, and I'm really excited about it, and I go and I buy it, and I'm like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, it solves the problem, but I don't use it. Like I just don't use it because I don't need it. I'm not like, yeah, it was exciting, but it didn't up my creativity. It didn't make my job any easier. It just like, it's just there, so it's like, well, what was the point of that? Like, I got excited about it, but it's like, it's not really of any use when, like, I could have saved that money and used it for a film, or something like that. So, I think we end up chasing after like the brand names of things, and it's like, oh, I can't be a real screenwriter unless I have Final Draft, or I can't be a real like DP unless I got the red camera, oh, I can't be a director unless I got this, that, or the other thing. It's all nonsense, because if you cut through all of that, it's like, do you have something to shoot on? Yes or no? If yes, go shoot something. Do you have actors? Do you have, like, there's so much that you can access for free, and so much that if you need it, if you find out that you need it, that you can get access to it. But for the most part, if you just cut out all that like, oh, I need to have this program or that program, no, just use what you got at this moment. If it is essential for you to have that one program, it'll become really obvious, because you'll try to make something and you'll say, man, this, if I just had this one program, then I know that my job would be easier, because I've tried to do this, that, or the other thing in this other program that sucks, and now I know I need to either buy it, to buy it, or like to work to raise money to buy it, or it's just you end up finding over time, over experience, the things that you need and the things that you don't need. And when it comes down to it, there are a lot of things that you really don't need. Like I'm just going to be honest. I think there's just only a few programs that you really need, and the rest is just like, it's just trying to it's trying to, like, this mindset is like stopping you from being creative, because you think you can't be creative without having that one thing, and that doesn't, like, no. Like, you create regardless. You make things regardless, and that's why you do this, right? This is why we're all filmmakers, is because, like, we just have this fire inside of us that we have to create something. We have to write stories. We have to, make characters and have scenarios like play out in front of us. And, it's just like we never get tired of it. And so if you go beyond just the tools and you say, well, what is this really about? It's about making stories. It's about the characters we create. And no tool is going to completely eliminate that need within us. It's like it's only gonna help us get there, if that makes any sense. So yeah, guys, I was just thinking about this past week, and I was like, man, we have so much gear when we shoot a film, and we have so many tools at our disposal to make a film, and it's like, how much of this is actually necessary? I guess it really depends on what it is you're trying to make, but it's, when you look at it, it's like, it's actually very basic. Like it's way simpler than I've been making it for a very long time, and even though there are certain things that do make the job easier, it's like I don't want to say you don't need all of it, but it's just like there are certain things that you understand over time that's like, well, I really do need this because it does make this process easier. And then there are other things where it's like, yeah, well, that's not going to help. That's not helpful. That's not getting me to where I need to go. That's not helping me create what I need to create. It's just giving me more roadblocks that, I need to learn a program that I could just easily just draw something with, or, it's like, and, maybe over time I'll change my mind and I'll say, there was a program that I really didn't like. I thought it was useless, but now I'm working on this one project and it actually is the right tool for the job. And now I need to admit that there's a reason why this program exists, and it is because I'm trying to do this one thing right now, and it's the best. It's the best that I can find out there, and it's a learning process too. So anyway, guys, like I said before, I hope you're doing well, and keep wearing the masks, and people are getting vaccinated, which is great, and but we're still in this thing in different parts of the world. So I can't wait till it's over, as I'm sure all of you out there feel the same way. So all right, guys, until the next one. And the next one is my 50th episode, and I need to figure out something special to do. And I don't know if I'm going to do this, but I was thinking about having a guest, because it seems like a lot of people, when they start a podcast, they have guests on, and I totally get it. But when I created this podcast, I was kind of like, no, it's just going to be me chatting about things that are on my mind, and but who knows? I am excited to at least maybe have, start having people on the podcast, just to kind of share their experiences, and to talk to them about what it's like to be a filmmaker or an actor or whatever, and just kind of chat, because I'm sure you guys don't always want to hear me babbling about nonsense, the things that are on my mind, but I hope I'm entertaining at least. So all right, guys, I will talk to you on the next one. And also, if you want to connect with me, I have an email for the podcast. It's tentative.title.with.tim.podcast@gmail.com. Also, I have a Twitter account for the podcast where I post episodes, and that is @title_Tim. And you can find also on the Facebook page, I have a page for the podcast, so you can connect with me there. Looking forward to hearing from all of you, and until then, I'll catch you on the next one.